healthier than a nice big pot of pinto beans, especially on a cold winter day. Of course, I usually just use a 1 pound bag of pinto beans. Any kind will do. I also use bacon. I'll show you how much bacon I use in a little while. 1 shallot I'm going to chop up. The tail end of the beans, maybe just about half hour or so before cooking, I use some cilantro. You're going to need some salt, and then you're going to need some pinto bean seasoning. Before I put the beans in cold water, I'll go ahead and I'll chop up some bacon, and I'll put it into the pot, and I'll let that cook for about 5 minutes or so. Let all the bacon fat and everything melt. Don't overcook cook the bacon. Just enough for it to glisten and soften up inside. At the same time, I'll go ahead, as the bacon's almost done, I'll peel a shallot or an onion or white onion, your preference, whichever type of onion you like. I prefer this for the flavor. And I'll chop it up and I'll put it in there when the bacon's almost done. About 5 minutes or so after, on a medium heat. I'll let the onions cook for a little bit, say about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. Then I'll go ahead and take my beans that I've already washed and pour them into the pot with the cold water. Well, first step is go ahead and take the beans out of the bag, put them in a pot, and wash them real good. Rinse them out real good. Remove any kind of debris. Filter them so they're nice and clean, and then put them in a pot like this, covered with cold water. Now, after you've got your beans in there and you've got them covered with water, and you've got your base of bacon and onions down there at the bottom that you've already simmered and let glisten and melt, you've got your beans cooking. Go ahead and turn on your flame to about medium heat. You don't want to overdo it, and you want to go ahead and, before you cover the pot, which is going to take about 2 hours of cooking time, I like to use this pinto bean seasoning. I'll go ahead and I'll use for a medium half full pot. I'll use 2 capfuls leveled out of this seasoning. I'll pour them in. In addition to that, I'll also use 3 tablespoons of salt. Pour them into the water as well. You can always add more salt later, but it's good to go ahead and get that salt in also at the very beginning. In addition to the bacon, to soften the bacon. Let that cook for 30 minutes at a time. Just keep an eye on it. Fill it with water. Cover it. Leave a little gap here for the steam to escape. And I'll set my timer here. For every 30 minutes I'll come and check on the water now. Refill it with cold water, hot water, whenever I need to, just to make sure the beans don't burn. Toward the last half hour of cooking your beans, I like to use a can of beer. Adds a lot more flavor, gives it a more authentic taste. I'll go ahead and I'll chop up some cilantro. It depends on your individual taste, but I'll use about this much here. I'll chop it up real fine. And here, at the end of 2 hours, we have the finished product. A nice, hot, steaming pot of delicious beans.